Word on the street. FisMaz Show. What's the word on the street? Like, who got the beats that be killing the game? Who's up on the screen? Who playing who? What's the score on the sheet? Fiso the Prince got him taking the seat. Got the legends giving us the 411. Fiso Maz from the 031. No hate in sports and entertainment when we got it all and we the only ones. And after all that action, love how we dripping hot passion. Drippy on some rich amnesty, stylish and struck up with passion. If it's giving us less, then we never settle. Make sure you pull up and bring all your medals. Sit back and relax, let's go. It's FisMaz bringing you the FisMaz Show. It's the FisMaz Show. It's the FisMaz Show. It's the FisMaz Show. It's the FisMaz Show.
Yeah, I've got a really exciting chat today with former Springbok coach Nick Mallett, one of our, well, I guess I call him rugby royalty. I think it's the right tag to give to the great man himself. So, Nick Mallett, it's an exciting time. British and Irish Lions tour just around the corner. I'm sure you're pretty fired up for it.
I'm very, very excited. Can you see I put my green T-shirt on here, supporting the Bucks. We've been without Test match rugby for close on 18 months since the World Cup. In 2019 because of COVID. So it's fantastic that the Lions are coming out. And remember, there's a squad of 45, so there are a lot of guys who are going to be selected. And it's just very exciting times for South African rugby.
For fans, for I guess for the players themselves, for coaching staff, what makes the British and Irish Lions tour just different from any other?
Well, I think most importantly, it's only every 12 years. So a player has to be pretty fortunate that he's at the best of his game at the time that the Lions come around and tour, and also that you hope that you don't get an injury around that period as well, because it's a tour that everyone really looks forward to. I know there are a few Springboks from the World Cup who definitely prolonged their careers because they missed out on the Lions tour in 2009, I think it was. So this is a fantastic opportunity. I know Dwayne Vermeulen would have been one of those.
Now, before we focus on the current crop, I just want to cast your mind back to 1997.
I'd been with the Springboks in 96 on a tour to Argentina, and I knew how much they were looking forward to that 97 Lions tour. So, I mean, it was a very strange series because we scored, I think we scored 7 tries, they scored 3. It was just our goal kicking let us down really badly in that series. And I think, for me, the drop goal, Jeremy Gusket's drop goal to allow them to win the series in Durban was just heartbreaking. It really was for the Springboks. And I think a lot of those guys learned some lessons that, that it doesn't matter what Northern Hemisphere team comes out here. To play for the British Lions is a massive honour, and the guys were incredibly motivated and managed to beat us here. So that was very disappointing.
Yeah, I can just imagine how disappointed that group would have been. It was a hard-fought series, as you did mention. But I mean, again, it's always a special time, and no doubt. I mean, you've touched on Dwayne Vermeulen and some of the other players who kind of prolonged their careers. I guess it just ramps home just how special this will be for the Springbok group, who have been inactive, as you said, and that's going to be a big challenge.
It will be. It really will be a big challenge because we missed out on the Rugby Championship last year, and obviously end-of-year tour and incoming tours because of COVID. It's been a desperate time for humanity as a whole, not only just as people who enjoy their sport, but for everyone. So to have this little light at the end of the tunnel, and such a big one, it's the British Lions. You don't really get better than that. I suppose an incoming tour of New Zealand would be an equivalent, but we play in New Zealand so often now in the Rugby Championship that almost the British Lions experience is one that is unique for a rugby player. They just don't have another occasion to do it. So I think the preparation, we're going to do the best we possibly can with 2 tests against Georgia. And of course, we've still got the same coaching group involved with Jacques Nienaber under Rassie Erasmus. Now he's taken over the head coaching job. But there's a lot of continuity there. And I think that in the selections, there'll be a lot of continuity from 2019 as well, to make sure that the team, it comes off a winning note. You win a World Cup, why would you want to change those players? It's only for guys who've retired, really, that you need to look for substitutions.
You've obviously just made a note there with regards to a large part of that group will be maintained.
Yeah.
Is that the correct call?
I think it's difficult. A lot of our good players are playing overseas. The ones who in South Africa have been playing really well. So if you look at Lukhanyo Am and his captaincy with the Sharks, how well they did in the Super Rugby when we recommenced the Super Rugby competition, and even before the Sharks were the best team, we've seen at the Stormers, Kitshoff, Malherbe, and Bongi and Benambi doing really well. Peter Steph Toy has been injured. He's come back and performed at the top level within 2 or 3 games of getting back. So it's not as though I've seen any young players challenge the Springbok incumbents, the ones who are playing in South Africa at the moment. And the ones who are playing overseas, just off the top of my head, a guy like Etzebeth has been playing good rugby in France. You've seen Dallander playing very well for Munster. Pollard has come off an injury, but he managed to get some game time with Montpellier. Faf de Klerk is playing so well for Sale. So they're also playing in a challenging competition, and I think they'll be very well prepared.
And I think holistically, when you look at any player, that when you have a World Cup coming up or any big tournament, the British and Irish Lions tour, you think if you're to miss out on injury, it must be heartbreaking.
It really, for him, I feel so sorry for him, because the style of rugby that the Sharks were playing has suited his game. He's a tremendous stepper and a great runner with the ball. He's a line-out option. He's got a lot of energy on the park. And I think that he's had a bit of sevens. He's gone across to sevens. So his in-contact skills have improved tremendously. He's good over the ball now. He's good at his decision-making in terms of when to pass, when to hold on. And obviously stealing ball, he's getting better at that, and his physicality. So he would have had an opportunity to play definitely for the Sharks against them. I think he would have been in the mix as well with the 45 and certainly with maybe South African A. So, I just feel desperate for a guy like him who made a positive move. He's gone to a union that has improved his rugby. And in the 1 year that he has an opportunity to show what he can do, he's had a bad leg injury. So, my heart goes out to him.
I'll tell you what, you've mentioned a few players that have obviously come back from overseas. You've mentioned Marcel Coetzee. Nizam Carr is another one who obviously at the Bulls under Jake White, I guess it looked like he's also revived himself. How important is it that those players are coming back in and creating those options, and also then giving, I guess, the Springbok coach and the Springbok hierarchy that headache in terms of selection?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important. I mean, I know that De Jong is coming back to play for Western Province as well, having had 3 or 4 great seasons with Wasps. You've got Nazim, you've got Carr, who's just rejoined the Bulls and captured them. Nizam Carr has done tremendously well. So I think the experience, there's a balance between youthful enthusiasm and a guy playing with no injuries who can just get on the field and smash people. And then you get people like Nizam Carr, who's done it all. He's been overseas. He understands the way people play over there. He's got his own great evasive skills. And he brings a calmness to the game that only a leader with experience can bring. And I think that's where the Bulls have got a really good balance. Someone like a Morné Steyn, or someone like a Vermeulen, or someone like a Nizam Carr, you put them next to another guy like Elrich Lowe, who's a young up-and-coming guy doing quite well. And they just calmly go about their job, allowing Elrich to, smash people, do big ball carries. And but in game management, they are absolutely vital. So, I'm looking forward to seeing people like Cheslin Colby come back. I mean, he's been an absolute superstar in France. He's just won the European Cup with Toulouse. Every year they get the best try of the season is a Cheslin Colby season in Europe, a try in Europe. So, he's, as I've said a lot during the World Cup, he's my favorite rugby player. He's a guy who just lights up the game when he plays. And Makazole Mapimpi coming back from Japan. I think Zbu Nkosi, obviously, Lukhanyo Am. I mean, obviously, Lukhanyo Am's leadership is now, one of it. Not only is he a great rugby player, but his captaincy has been so good with the Sharks, and the way in which he deals with the referee. So there's so many positives, coming from the guys coming back and the guys who are playing in the Rainbow Cup South Africa. I think the sort of players that you're looking at to start against the British Lions are coming into form at the right time.
You made a great point there with regards to obviously leadership. You know, when you think of how big a squad, you know, you probably select for a tour of this nature, that kind of leadership is needed, especially if the team is going to be coming against a team that will be strong, well prepared, well coached, and one that will bring a different kind of dimension to anything our players have been experiencing in the local competitions.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, it's a combination of four very, very good rugby teams. I mean, Scotland has improved incredibly. Ireland has always been a strong. We've always battled to beat them in the Northern Hemisphere. Wales, Russie's got absolutely huge respect for Wales and the coaching of a chap like Warren Gatland. And then England under Eddie Jones have been, strong. They got it to the final of the Rugby World Cup. They're in a bit of a dip at the moment, but they've got tremendous players. And when you look at their back three, I mean, Watson and Hogg and probably someone like there's a Welsh winger. I've lost his name now, but he's been brilliant in the Six Nations. And they've got the ability to play an expansive game or to play a tight game. Because if you look at their tens, and I'm sure someone like Joel will talk about this more than I do, but if they've got someone like Farrell who can play 10 or Dan Bigger who can play 10, who can play a very good defensive kicking game, or they've got the Scottish flyer, Finn Russell, who's a brilliant attacking player and can bring out the best in his backline. So you've got this ability, the Lions have got the ability to play two different styles of rugby and also to change from one test match to another, depending on what is successful or not successful. And South Africa is going to have to be prepared for any eventuality against these guys.
You take me perfectly to my next topic, because now I wanted to talk about against the Brains Trust from the two respective camps. You've obviously mentioned Warren Gatland and what he'll bring to the table from a British and Irish Lions side. Now you've got Jacques Nienaber as well as Rassie Erasmus, who obviously is the World Cup winning coach. Let's speak about those combinations from a Springbok perspective, how they approach this particular series in terms of game plan.
I would say, that the bedrock of our success has always been a very, very solid front five. We've always had, our set pieces we cannot, South African rugby does not operate without a really good set piece that dominates. So they will still look to try and get a scrum that can dominate the Lions scrum. They'll look at a line out that puts pressure on the Lions line out, and also on our line out, we win close to 100% of our throw-ins, and also we'll vary it between driving mauls and peels off the back and balls off the top. So set piece is absolutely crucial, and we won't move a long way away from that. And then also I think we do play a territory and a defense-based game, with 15 players you can tackle and 15 players you can turn ball over. And I think what we're very good at doing is understanding when we should have a crack. I think we're good at running off turnovers, and we're also very good at running off penalty advantage. So given that that we were so successful at the World Cup with this strategy, I'm not sure we're going to try and change too quickly and suddenly become a sort of seven-a-side, pass every ball that we get type of team. I think we'll still go in there with a Faf and a Pollard controlling things, but as soon as we get that penalty advantage, we have a crack to see what Mpimpi, what Am, what Willie Leroux or Farsi, perhaps if Farsi can get a run, what they can do in the team on attack, and any turnover. Because remember, when you turn a ball over, you're against unstructured defense, and that's when we can really cause damage. So I don't think we're going to be moving too far. Now, everyone knows what South Africa brings to the table, but can they counter it? This is the big question. Everyone knows you've got to front up against South Africa, but talking about it and doing it are two separate things. It's only really New Zealand is the only team that's really managed to match us in our physicality. England was woefully short of that sort of physicality in the World Cup final. And I think Rassie and Jacques Nienaber understand that set piece requires, a dominant set piece with a lot of physicality and ability to bring on 5 or 6 forwards who maintain the momentum for your team and keep putting pressure on the opposition set piece, which makes it very hard for them to play any sort of attacking rugby, because going off ball, trying to run off ball going backwards is just a hopeless cause.
In summation, I mean, I've been looking at social media, and there's been some comments from I guess other former players, and I guess there's a sense that South Africa haven't really played much. They're there for the taking. How much would that play on the Springboks' mind in terms of just really getting them fired up for this particular battle?
Yeah, I can't disagree more. You know, I think that these guys have been literally waiting month by month by month, waiting for these Lions to come on tour, desperate for the Lions to come on tour this year. We're going to be, you know, really sad not to have spectators at the stadiums, but the players themselves cannot wait to play against the British Lions. And there's a tremendous amount of respect and mutual sort of trust and loyalty between the players and this coaching staff. I mean, of course, built up through a brilliant Rugby World Cup 2019 campaign. But it's a team that's not afraid to work very, very hard. They've got an excellent captain in Sia. They've got an excellent coach in Jacques Nienaber with the director of rugby, Rassie, who's not going to be far away from the organisation of things. We've got Zwandile Stick as well, who was outstanding at the World Cup, who they love and who the players respect. So when you've got a strong bond of trust between coaches and players, coaches, captain, and the captain and his team, you know, you're usually onto a good thing. And I don't think that not playing for 18 months has broken the trust that they've got. And I know that they've got tremendous respect for Jacques Nienaber.
Just having this conversation, I'm getting all fired up and excited for it. I know you're wearing your Springbok green at the moment. Yeah. Is that where you think this tour will finish in favor of the Boks?
Listen, I think a well-coached, well-drilled, well-organized South African team playing for each other, happy, is a very, very hard team to beat. And going into that World Cup final, you know, I'm not just saying it, but I think I sat with Shimmy, and we were about the only two people who said we're in with a fighter's chance in that final. Everyone was just saying England were going to win it, and by how many points, because they had dispatched New Zealand. And we were always talking about you know, the physicality that we bring. We cut down space, we cut down ability to attack, and we strangle teams, and then we can score some brilliant tries, as we did in that final. You know, they were absolutely miraculous. I mean, both Mapimpi's try and Cheslin Colby's try. And this team will be able to do exactly the same against this British Lions side, because they've got the same coaching staff, they've got the same elements, key elements in the team, people who are very proud and trust each other. So I'm very confident that we're going to win the series. And I'd like to say 3-0, but you know, I just hope if we go 2-0 up, we'll still play our best team in the third test so that we can beat them 3-0. We must go back to remember 74 when we were humiliated in this country. And 97 was very uncomfortable when we lost to the British Lions then as well. And there's nothing worse than you know, losing to a Northern Hemisphere touring team. We really owe it to ourselves to win this one.
Yeah, well, let's hope that the Boks do come out and put their best foot forward. But nonetheless, really looking forward to it. And I thank you for your time, Nick. And yeah, it should be an exciting time.
No, it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be a very, very exciting time, and lots of rugby, lots of midweek games where we can be interested to see how our provincial franchises go, and just such an exciting time after a very, very difficult 18 months of COVID. So thumbs up, and let's all enjoy these, you know, from July when they get out here, July and August. I can't wait.
Yeah, thumbs up from Nick Mallett, a thumbs up from me, and a thumbs up from the whole of South Africa. I know everyone's looking forward to it. And as always, your World of Champions will bring you all of that rugby action from the British and Irish Lions tour. So really looking forward to it. Nick Mallett, thank you. I got to let you go now.
Cheers, it's a pleasure. Always good to talk.